The Victorian curriculum is broken down into 8 learning areas and 4 capabilities. The capabilities are a set of discrete knowledge and skills. These should be explicitly taught and assessed. The Ethical Capability Curriculum explores what it means for both an individual and society to live well. Through this capability, students explore themselves as individuals, the relationship between people, and the relationship between people and the environmental, social, and economic systems. By exploring these themes, students are challenged to think about what kind of society we should have, what kind of person one should be, how we should live, and also how we should act. The ethical capability aims to develop knowledge, understanding, and skills to enable students to analyse and evaluate ethical issues, recognising areas of contestability, identify the basis of ethical principles and ethical reasoning, engage with the challenges of managing ethical decision-making and action for individuals and groups, and cultivate open-mindedness and reasonableness. The Ethical Capability Curriculum is broken down into 2 strands from Foundation to Level 10. The first strand is Understanding Concepts, and the second strand is Decision-Making and Actions. The Ethical Capability Curriculum has achievement standard statements that describe what students are typically able to understand and do. These are the basis for reporting student achievement. The first achievement standard is at Foundation to Level 2, and then at Levels 4, 6, 8, and 10. Within the Understanding Concepts strand, students progressively learn to analyse key concepts and ideas important to identifying ethical problems, concepts that have ethical significance such as good, wrong, tolerance, greed, freedom, and courage, and the nature and justifications of ethical principles. This is an example of what the progression of learning could look like for the Understanding Concepts strand from Foundation to Level 10. Here is an example of how teaching and learning activities can be scaffolded across a school using the Understanding Concepts strand from the Ethical Capabilities Curriculum. Within the Decision-Making and Action strand, students progressively learn to analyse and evaluate ways to respond to ethical problems and factors that influence ethical decision-making and action. This is an example of what the progression of learning could look like for the Decision-Making and Action strand from Foundation to Level 10. Here is an example of how teaching and learning activities can be scaffolded across a school using the Decision-Making and Action strand from the Ethical Capabilities Curriculum. For students to access the Ethical Capabilities Curriculum, they need to have an understanding of how to engage with ethical issues relevant to their age and level of learning. The ability to analyse and evaluate an ethical issue requires knowledge and skills drawn from the ethical capability, the critical and creative thinking capability, and other capabilities or learning areas as appropriate. Here is an example of how all these 3 elements will contribute to the analysis of an ethical issue in a primary classroom. This highlights the idea of using a learning area, in this case economics and business, to engage students in the ethical and critical and creative thinking curriculums. Here is an example of what this could look like in a secondary classroom setting. Similar to the primary example, this highlights the idea of using a learning area to engage students in the ethical and critical and creative thinking curriculums. In the ethical capability, students are introduced to different religions and worldviews, which is an important part of contemporary school curriculum. It assists students to recognise and appreciate both areas of commonality and difference between diverse faith groups and secular perspectives. Students are encouraged to explore Australia and the world's 5 major religions: Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, and Judaism. Here are some important considerations when implementing the ethical capability. The ethical capability is a new curriculum area, so students will need time to develop skills and knowledge within this area to engage with ethical issues. The Victorian curriculum is structured as a continuum across levels of learning achievement, not years of schooling. This enables the development of targeted learning programs for all students, where the curriculum is used to plan in relation to the actual learning level of each student rather than their assumed level of learning based on age. And all 4 capabilities are designed to be embedded into the learning areas to strengthen student learning.